Hey guys, tonight let's do something very ambitious and very low energy together. Let's gently wander into the past. Not the exciting past with battles and speeches and heroic last stands, but the quiet, sore-backed, mildly resentful past. The kind of past where someone wakes up before dawn, already exhausted, and thinks, "Oh good, another day of this." So dim the lights. Put your phone face down. Let your brain clock out early. Because tonight we're spending a very long, very calm amount of time with one extremely ordinary person. An ancient soldier. Not famous, not heroic, not remembered. Just there. Sweaty, hungry, confused about why he signed up. And honestly, that makes him perfect bedtime company. Now, when people imagine ancient soldiers, they usually picture statues, perfect posture, perfect armor, chiseled faces staring heroically into the middle distance, which is adorable, because real ancient soldiers looked more like men who slept on dirt, ate whatever was available, and were permanently sore in places they didn't know could be sore. So let's start at the beginning of his day. Not with a trumpet blast, not with a dramatic sunrise, but with the deeply unpleasant moment of waking up. Our soldier opens his eyes sometime before dawn, because of course he does. No one in history ever wakes up comfortably. He is sleeping on the ground, or on a thin mat, or on something that used to be a mat before it gave up. His neck hurts, his back hurts, his knees hurt. There is a rock involved somehow, and it was not there when he went to sleep. Rocks are like that. He blinks. He groans quietly. He does not sit up immediately because that would be a mistake. Around him, other soldiers are doing the same thing, shifting, stretching, coughing. One man is already complaining, which tells you everything you need to know about group morale. This could be a Roman legionary, or a Greek hoplite, or an Assyrian infantryman, or an Egyptian conscript who really just wanted to farm. Different centuries, different empires, same vibes. Someone yells, not aggressively, just loudly. Orders in ancient armies tend to be shouted whether or not shouting is necessary. Our soldier eventually sits up, slowly, like an elderly man, even if he's 19, because ancient military service is very good at making teenagers feel 45. He checks his gear, because that's what soldiers do. Helmet, weapon, shield. Everything is where it should be, more or less. More or less is the standard here. If he's Roman, his helmet is heavy and uncomfortable, and it smells faintly of old sweat and metal. If he's Greek, his bronze gear looks impressive and feels like punishment. If he's from pretty much anywhere else, his equipment reflects his society's exact level of technological optimism, and none of it is light. Armor in the ancient world was not designed for comfort, it was designed for survival, which is different, and even then it had mixed results. So he stands up, or tries to. There is a moment where balance is negotiated. He joins the others as they form up, not neatly, never neatly. Someone hasn't tightened their belt, someone else is missing a sandal. One man looks like he slept inside his shield and deeply regrets it. Breakfast happens now, and breakfast is optimistic. It might be bread, hard bread, the kind that could also be used as a defensive weapon. There might be porridge, if you're lucky, and if you're not lucky, it tastes like sadness and boiled grain. Sometimes there's wine, very weak wine, basically ancient Gatorade, because water is suspicious, always suspicious, especially when thousands of men are camping nearby and doing what thousands of men do to the environment. Our soldier eats quietly, or complains quietly, which is still complaining. He's not thinking about glory, He's thinking about how his jaw hurts from chewing yesterday's bread, and how he would do questionable things for a warm meal. Once breakfast is done, the day truly begins. And by truly, I mean laboriously. Training comes first because ancient armies believed in repetition, a lot of repetition. Marching, turning, holding formation, again and again and again. If he's Roman, this is taken extremely seriously. Romans loved discipline, loved it, sometimes more than winning. He marches in full gear, because why train lightly when you can suffer realistically? The shield pulls on his shoulder, the armor rubs, his sandals kick up dust. Dust gets everywhere, in his eyes, in his mouth, in places dust should not be. Greek soldiers have it slightly different. Their training emphasizes cohesion, standing shoulder to shoulder, shield overlapping shield, which sounds noble until you realize it means sweating directly on the man next to you for hours. Ancient warfare was very intimate, uncomfortably so. By mid-morning, the sun is up and the heat is starting to settle in. This is where the day becomes a negotiation between endurance and resentment. Our soldier is told to practice with weapons, wooden ones usually, because metal is expensive and also because bruises build character. He thrusts, he blocks, he repeats motions drilled into him over months or years. His arms ache, his hands blister. No one stops. Ancient commanders were not big on listen to your body. Your body existed to be used, preferably until it broke, and then someone else would take your place. There is shouting, there is correction, there is the universal ancient military instruction, no, not like that. Eventually, training pauses, not because they're done, but because someone decides it's time for something else. Sometimes that something else is work, because soldiers were also unpaid laborers with weapons. They dig trenches, they build fortifications, they repair roads, they haul supplies. Roman soldiers were basically construction workers with swords, and the empire loved that about them. Our soldier grabs a tool. His hands, already sore, get sorer. The sun climbs higher. Sweat soaks into fabric and leather. Armor heats up. At some point, everyone smells the same, like effort and metal and regret. Dinner happens when it happens, which means not at a specific time. It's more bread. Of course it is. Maybe cheese if supplies are good. Maybe dried meat if someone important is nearby. He eats sitting on the ground because there are no chairs. Luxury is rarer. Conversation is minimal. Talking takes energy, and energy is precious. Someone mentions home. Someone else shuts that down immediately. Homesickness is contagious. By early afternoon, fatigue sets in, the deep, dull kind, the kind that makes everything feel slightly unreal. This is also when discipline slips, just a little. A man lags behind, another drops something, a third stares off into space. They are corrected, gently or not, depending on the mood of whoever's in charge. Ancient armies were built on hierarchy. Someone is always watching, someone is always disappointed. If there is no battle that day, and most days there isn't, the ancient soldier's afternoon continues much the same. More work, more waiting, more standing around pretending to be tired. This is the part no epic poem lingers on, because it's not very epic. It's mostly boring, but boredom in the ancient world was exhausting. Eventually, the day starts to soften, the sun lowers, shadows stretch. There's a sense of relief, not joy, just less pressure. Dinner is served, which is, once again, bread, but softer if you're lucky. Sometimes there's stew, thin stew, but still stew. Our soldier eats slowly, because there is nowhere else to be. Around him, men relax in the only ways available to them. They talk, they joke, they complain about officers. This is timeless. Someone sings quietly. Someone else tells a story they've told before. There is laughter, low and tired. For a moment, things almost feel normal. Almost. As night settles in, the camp changes. Guards are assigned. Fires are tended. If our soldier is unlucky, he has watch duty, which means staying awake while everyone else tries to sleep. If he's lucky, he lies down, on the ground, again. He removes his gear, slowly, carefully. His body hurts in new ways now, creative ways. He stares up at the sky, stars without light pollution, clear, unimpressed. By the time our ancient soldier opens his eyes again, it feels like he never really closed them. Sleep in the ancient world is less of a reset and more of a brief pause where your body negotiates with pain and then loses. He wakes before the sun because the sun does not care about his personal growth journey. Somewhere nearby, a voice is already yelling, not urgently, just loudly. Ancient commanders loved volume. It made them feel productive. He rolls onto his side, winces, and pushes himself up. Everything pops. Knees, shoulders, spine. If this were a modern body, it would be alarming. In the ancient world, it's just morning. Around him, men are doing the same slow resurrection from the ground. No one speaks yet. Speech requires hope. Today is a marching day. He knows this because everything feels heavier somehow. The kind of psychological weight that settles in when you realize you'll be walking for hours with all your possessions strapped to you, including the ones actively trying to bruise you. He eats his morning ration. Bread again. Hard, dry, loyal bread. The kind of bread that has seen things. He chews carefully because one wrong move could cost him a tooth, and dentistry is not really a thing yet. The order comes and the group starts moving, not gracefully, not heroically, just forward, step after step after step. If he's Roman, this is painfully organized, lines maintained, pace enforced, no one allowed to drift, slow down, or have opinions. Roman marches are famous for efficiency, which is a nice way of saying they are joyless and long. Greek soldiers march too, but with slightly more chaos. Other ancient armies fall somewhere on the spectrum between loosely organized and actively confused. The road is dusty, or muddy, or rocky, sometimes all three somehow. His sandals slap against the ground, offering minimal protection and zero cushioning. Every step sends a reminder up his legs that he is in fact carrying far too much. Shield on one arm, weapon on the other, armor pressing down like an unkind suggestion. Sweat starts early. It always does. Hours pass. Not dramatic hours, just hours. The kind that stretch. The kind where the landscape barely changes, and yet everything hurts more. Occasionally someone stumbles. Occasionally someone is told to stop being dramatic. Water breaks are allowed, but not generous. You drink when told. You stop when told. Autonomy is a luxury item. At some point the march pauses. Not because they've arrived anywhere important, but because someone in charge decided this was a good enough spot to stop pretending progress was happening. The soldiers drop their loads, carefully, but with relief. Our soldier lowers himself onto the ground and immediately regrets sitting instead of lying. Standing back up later will be a personal trial. There is waiting now. Ancient soldiers spend an astonishing amount of time waiting for orders, waiting for scouts, waiting for enemies who may or may not exist, waiting for history to happen around them, while they mostly just exist inside it. He watches dust drift in the air. He listens to someone nearby complain about their feet. This is relatable content. Eventually, they're told to move again, or to set up camp, or to do something else that involves effort. If camp is being made, there is work to do. Always work. Ditches to dig, tents to raise, fires to prepare. If he's Roman, this is done with almost religious seriousness. Roman camps are neat, defensive, and oddly comforting in their predictability. Every ditch measured, every tent placed just so. Order against the chaos of the world. By late afternoon, the sun is lower, but the fatigue is deeper. This is the tiredness that settles into bones, the kind that doesn't go away with rest because rest hasn't been invented yet. He eats again, bread, obviously, maybe a bit of dried meat. He chews slowly, staring at nothing in particular. Conversation drifts. Someone talks about rumors, a city ahead, an enemy somewhere, maybe a battle tomorrow. The word tomorrow hangs in the air longer than it should. No one reacts dramatically. Ancient soldiers are very good at not reacting. Reacting wastes energy. As evening approaches, the mood shifts slightly. There's a loosening, a sense that the worst of today is over, even if tomorrow promises more of the same. Fires crackle, shadows stretch, armor is loosened, if not fully removed. Our soldier rubs his shoulders and wonders how something can ache and feel numb at the same time. Stories emerge, old campaigns, past commanders, a battle that went poorly, a battle that went well. Details change each time they're told. Accuracy is less important than familiarity. These stories are how soldiers remind themselves that survival is possible, that others have endured this and lived long enough to complain about it later. If he has guard duty tonight, there is resignation. He takes his place, weapon in hand, eyes scanning the dark. The night is quiet, but not peaceful. Every sound feels important, a rustle, a cough, a distant animal. His mind fills in threats that may not exist. This is exhausting in a different way. If he doesn't have watch, he lies down again, on the ground, always the ground. He arranges himself carefully, trying to trick his body into comfort. It does not work, but he appreciates the effort. He stares at the stars again, the same stars people have always stared at, people who worried about food, about safety, about tomorrow. Sleep comes slowly, interrupted by noise, by cold, by thoughts he didn't invite. Eventually, it settles in, heavy and unavoidable. And tomorrow will come, with marching, with waiting, with work, with bread. Which brings us gently, inevitably, towards the thing everyone avoids thinking about too much: battle. But we'll take our time getting there. Morning arrives without ceremony. It always does. Our ancient soldier wakes up feeling like he has been awake the entire night, just with his eyes closed for some of it. The ground has not softened, his body has not adapted. If anything, it has learned new ways to complain. He sits up slowly, pausing halfway like a man reconsidering all of his life choices. Around him, the camp stirs in low, tired motions. No one jumps out of bed because there are no beds, and also because joy is limited. There is a different energy today. He can feel it before anyone says anything. A quiet tension, stretched thin, like everyone is pretending this is just another day, while very clearly knowing it might not be. Breakfast happens quickly. Bread, again, but eaten faster, almost aggressively. Someone jokes that it might be their last meal. No one laughs. The joke wasn't for laughter anyway. Orders move through the camp in fragments. Pack up, stay close, be ready. Be ready is doing a lot of work here. Armor goes on earlier than usual. Straps are tightened, belts adjusted. Our soldier checks his weapon more than once, even though it hasn't changed since yesterday. His hands move automatically, muscle memory doing its best to keep his mind from wandering into unhelpful territory. They begin to move, not marching exactly, more like advancing. The difference is subtle but important. Lines tighten, talking fades. The landscape feels suddenly sharper. Hills are suspicious, trees feel judgmental. Every sound carries weight. Someone coughs and immediately apologizes, as if noise itself might summon trouble. Time stretches. This part of the day takes forever. Nothing happens, which somehow makes everything worse. Our soldier's heart beats harder than necessary. He feels oddly alert and incredibly tired at the same time. Sweat forms, even if the air is cool. Armor presses in, heavier now that he's aware of it. Eventually, they stop. Again. Always stopping. This time it feels intentional. Commanders move, messages pass, no one explains anything because explanations are not a priority. Waiting resumes, but this waiting is sharper. No one sits, no one relaxes. Our soldier stands with his shield resting against his leg, shifting his weight slightly, then stopping because even that feels too noticeable. This is the quiet before things go wrong. Not dramatic, not cinematic, just a stretched-out moment where everyone is very aware of their own breathing. He thinks about strange things, a meal he once had, a road near home, the way light looks in the early evening. His mind drifts, not because he wants it to, but because it always does under pressure. Then it starts, not with a roar, not with chaos, just movement, a sound in the distance, shouting that sharpens, orders suddenly clear and urgent, lines form, shields come up, training takes over, because thinking would be unhelpful right now. Our soldier steps forward when told. He does what he has practiced, because that is all there is. The world narrows. Noise increases, but it's oddly muffled, like his ears are prioritizing survival over clarity. He feels the weight of the shield, solid and familiar. The weapon in his hand feels heavier than it ever did during training. There is contact, not immediately violent, just crowded, bodies close, breath hot. The space between people disappears. He can smell metal and sweat and fear, all blended together. Someone bumps him hard, someone swears, someone else shouts a name that may or may not belong to anyone nearby. Time becomes strange. Moments blur. There is no grand awareness of history unfolding, just instructions followed and instincts obeyed. Step, hold, push, adjust. He does not think about strategy. He does not think about glory. He thinks about not falling, because falling is very bad. Eventually, somehow, it eases. The noise shifts. The pressure lessens. He is not sure how much time has passed. His arms shake. His breathing is loud in his own ears. Around him, men look stunned, like they've been dropped back into their bodies after briefly leaving them behind. Orders come again. Stop, regroup, hold. The immediate danger has passed, or at least moved somewhere else. Our soldier lowers his shield slightly and realizes his hands are trembling. He flexes his fingers, testing them. Everything still works. This feels important. There is no celebration. Ancient battles do not end with cheering. They end with exhaustion, with confusion, with the slow realization that you are still alive and someone else is not. He looks around, careful not to look too closely. Faces are pale, eyes unfocused. Someone sits down very suddenly. As the day moves on, the aftermath settles in. The camp reforms, shakier now. Work resumes, because work always resumes. Fires are lit, equipment is checked. Our soldier eats when food is offered, even though he barely tastes it. His body is running on something deeper than hunger. As night falls, the weight of the day finally catches up to him. His muscles ache in a different way now, a deeper way. He lies down and stares at the dark sky, blinking slowly. Thoughts drift through his mind, disorganized and soft around the edges. Sleep takes him more quickly tonight, not gently, but completely. Tomorrow will bring more marching, more waiting, more bread, and life, improbably, will continue. Morning returns in the same unenthusiastic way it always does, sliding into the camp without asking permission. Our ancient soldier wakes up slowly because his body has learned that sudden movements are a trap. Every muscle feels like it has been mildly offended overnight. He opens his eyes, stares at the sky for a moment, and considers not moving at all. This is not an option, but it is considered. Around him, the camp comes alive in that low, resigned way shared by soldiers across history. No one stretches dramatically, no one greets the day. Men simply sit up, rub their faces, and quietly accept that consciousness has happened again. Someone coughs, someone else mutters something about their back. The ground, unchanged and unapologetic, releases its prisoners one by one. Breakfast appears with minimal excitement. Bread, obviously, always bread. It is hard enough to remind him that his jaw is a participant in this campaign, whether it wants to be or not. He chews slowly, eyes half-lidded, listening to the faint sounds of armor being adjusted and weapons being checked. There is a different feeling in the air today. Not panic, not fear exactly, just a subtle tightening, like everyone is bracing without admitting it. Orders begin circulating, vague at first, then more specific. Pack up, stay ready, keep close. Stay ready is the kind of instruction that means something is coming, but no one is interested in explaining what. Armor goes on earlier than usual, straps are pulled tighter, buckles checked twice. Our soldier adjusts his helmet, lifting it slightly and setting it back down, trying to find a position that doesn't dig into his skull. He fails, but accepts this as his reality. They move out slowly. Not a march, not a charge, just movement with intention. Talking fades quickly, jokes disappear. Even habitual complainers seem to sense that today is not the day. The road stretches ahead, familiar and suddenly unfamiliar at the same time. Trees look like potential problems, hills look like bad ideas. The world feels watchful, even if nothing is actually watching. Time stretches in an uncomfortable way. This is the part of soldiering that never makes it into stories, the hours where nothing happens, but everyone is certain something could. Our soldier stands, walks, stops, then stands again. His shield feels heavier, not because it weighs more, but because he is thinking about it more. Sweat forms under his armor, even though the air is cool. His heart beats just a little faster than necessary. Eventually, they stop, the kind of stop that feels intentional. Lines tighten, officers move back and forth, speaking in low, urgent tones. No one explains anything to the men who will actually be doing the work. Our soldier shifts his weight and then freezes, suddenly aware of how loud movement feels in moments like this. He stares ahead, eyes unfocused, waiting for clarity that does not arrive. This waiting is different from other waiting. It presses in. It fills the space inside his head. His thoughts drift to strange places. A meal he once had that was warm and didn't involve chewing aggressively. The sound of evening insects near home. A road he used to walk without armor pressing into his shoulders. These thoughts are unhelpful but persistent. The first real sign that something is happening is noise, not a sudden crash or a dramatic signal, just shouting, sharper now, closer. Orders snap into focus. Shields up, stay together, move forward. Training takes over because thinking would take too long. Our soldier lifts his shield, feeling the familiar pull on his arm, and steps when the man in front of him steps. The line moves as one imperfect thing. The world narrows quickly. Sounds blur together. Shouting, metal, feet on the ground. The space around him fills with bodies, too close for comfort. He smells sweat, breath, old leather. Someone bumps into him hard enough to knock the air from his lungs. He recovers automatically because there is no time to do anything else. This is not heroic. It is crowded and confusing. He does not see much. Faces flash past, shields collide. His weapon feels awkward, heavier than it did during practice, but his hands know what to do even if his mind is elsewhere. He focuses on staying upright. Falling is the one thing everyone agrees is unacceptable. Time behaves strangely here. Moments stretch, then collapse. He cannot tell how long any of this lasts. His arms begin to burn. His breathing is loud in his ears, uneven and fast. Somewhere nearby, someone is shouting instructions, but they blur into the general noise. He moves, stops, pushes, holds. It is not graceful, it is functional. Then, gradually, it eases. Not all at once. The pressure lessens, the noise shifts, orders change tone. Stop, hold, regroup. Our soldier realizes his hands are shaking. He tightens his grip on his shield without thinking, grounding himself in the weight of it. He looks around carefully, not wanting to see too much, but needing to know where he is. Men stand in loose clusters now, breathing heavily, staring into space. Someone sits down very suddenly, like their legs have decided they're done. No one laughs, no one cheers. Ancient battles do not end with celebration. They end with exhaustion and a strange quiet, like everyone is afraid to speak too loudly in case it all starts again. As the day moves on, the aftermath settles in slowly. The camp reforms, less orderly now but still functioning. Equipment is checked, armor loosened. Our soldier removes his helmet and runs a hand through sweat-soaked hair, blinking as if the light is too bright. His body feels heavy, like it belongs to someone else. Food appears at some point. He eats because it is offered, not because he is hungry. The bread tastes like nothing, or maybe he just doesn't notice. Around him, conversation is minimal. When men do speak, it's about practical things. Who needs help? What needs fixing? What comes next? No one discusses meaning. Meaning is above their pay grade. As evening settles in, fatigue takes on a deeper quality, the kind that sinks into bones and stays there. Our soldier sits, then lies down, then adjusts himself repeatedly, trying to find a position that doesn't remind him of everything at once. The ground is the same as always, unforgiving, reliable. He stares up at the darkening sky, watching the stars appear one by one. They look exactly the same as they did yesterday, as they will tomorrow. This is oddly comforting. The universe, at least, is consistent. His thoughts drift without direction. Images surface and fade. Sounds echo and dissolve. Sleep comes more quickly tonight. Not peacefully, but completely. His body claims it without negotiation. Tomorrow will bring more marching, more waiting, more work, more bread. And for now, that is enough.